Hey people, welcome to Healing Outside the Box. I'm Jean Tiberio, and I'm a nutritionist and a wellness coach. This is episode 193, and I'm calling it A Review of the Book Meditation as Medicine. Now, first off, if you decide that you want to buy this book, I recommend getting the audio version so that you can hear the spoken meditation or mantra. So I'm writing this episode on Halloween night, and I'm clearly not recording tonight because, as it turns out, this room sits right on the Salem Common, and we have our usual 80,000 people descending on Salem for Halloween. Right outside my window, there's a stage, and the band that I look forward to every year plays old Beatles tunes. There's actually 4 stages set up from one end of Salem to the other, and there's different bands playing. I think the city decided to do that because people come to Salem thinking, where are the witches? And I'm not sure if there were witches, what they would do when they met them, but there's really nothing to do, is what I'm saying. So it's good that they have the live music. Anyway, back to the episode. A review of the book Meditation as Medicine by Dhama Singh Khalsa, MD. He actually has a practice not far from me in Cambridge, Massachusetts. His subtitle is Activate the Power of Your Natural Healing Force. Now, the author is a physician, but he makes the disclaimer early on that meditation of any kind is not meant to be a substitute for traditional medical care. The author converted to Sikhism, which is a religion, and again not meant to be confused with yoga or meditation. There are more mainstream meditation practices that we know about, and these include TM, or Transcendental Meditation, the relaxation response, made famous by Herbert Benson, MD, also out of Cambridge, and mindfulness meditation, made famous by John Kabat-Zinn. He practices out of UMass Medical Center. So this is a book about medical meditation that uses breathing patterns, in other words, deep breathing, postures and movements, mantras, including vibratory sounds, or what we call chanting, and a unique mental focus. This makes it different from, say, TM, which is the repetition of a mantra. He also gets into a detailed explanation of the 7 chakras, and I'll get into that later. He talks about how this type of philosophy goes way back, and he quotes Pythagoras. He was that mathematician with the triangles and so forth. But anyway, he says, quote, all matters in the universe emit vibrations, end quote. Hundreds of years later, we're starting to look at this. We've learned that these vibrations are an integral part of bodily functions. We now know that sounds can be used in medicine, but the question is, can we use these vibrations to heal? This is the question that he seeks to explain. There are some pieces of the puzzle that we already have. There's a great neurologist named Oliver Sacks. He tested music on patients with Parkinson's and saw some incredible results, but they could not be maintained, unfortunately. Medical meditation involves vibratory sounds in this way. He says that there are 84 reflex points above the tongue, at the roof of the mouth. Chanting a mantra can cause vibratory sounds that can stimulate, say, the pituitary gland, because these vibrations are thought to be connected to different parts of the body. And this theory is similar to the theory in acupuncture. And if you listen to this book, you'll notice that in many places there are similarities to other Eastern medicine techniques. So what he's saying is that when you chant a mantra, the sound or vibration affects many systems in your body. He thinks that the endocrine system can be affected, perhaps stimulating the hypothalamus. He also thinks that this can help connect the left and right sides of the brain. He also brings in modern medical science in this way. He mentions that the chemical pathways that, say, determine thought can travel in both directions. We all know that our brain can tell our leg to move forward, and therefore we start walking. But what he's saying is that it can go in the reverse direction. We can stimulate our body, and that might help our brain to feel like it is in tune or balance with our body. He also mentions that we now know the immune system can learn. It's not just present at birth or infancy. It can learn. It can change. Now, he mentions that most people have a little mind-body healing ability. But medical meditation, he says, will help us tap into this ability. Maybe another way of saying this is that this type of meditation may help us nurture our own self-healing ability. He then goes on to talk about 4 states of consciousness: waking, sleeping, dreaming, and a 4th state of deep relaxation that meditation teachers often talk about. In this way, it is similar to other meditations. Now, he then gets into a specific example of a meditation routine that he himself does. He eats a light meal the night before, goes to bed early, then wakes up early, takes a cool shower, maybe eats a light breakfast, and then does a chanting mantra. It may sound something like this.
Om Gurudev Namo.
Then he does several minutes of a meditation or prayer. He recommends that you do whatever you want to do for yourself. He then does stretch exercises or yoga and then meditates. Later in the book, he discusses chakras in detail. I'm going to give you a quote from an article about chakras so you have a basic idea what it is. Chakra is an old Sanskrit word that literally translates to wheel. This is because the life force or prana that moves inside of you is spinning and rotating. The spinning energy has 7 centers in your body, starting at the base of your spine and moving all the way up to the top of your head. Another way to refer to a chakra is that they are centers of energy. There are 7 chakras. The theory is that if one of your chakras is out of alignment, for example, spinning too quickly, then your health will suffer. So, people see balancing chakras as a way to tune in to your mind-body-spirit connection. End quote. I'll give you a link to that article in the show notes. Maybe the best way to see this is just to do an example of a chakra meditation. Now, make sure you are in a quiet space. Then sit quietly and take in a few deep breaths. Just be in the moment and feel your body. Bring your attention to the base of your spine, right where your tailbone is. Imagine a spinning red light. Quietly sit with that feeling for a minute. Now move your attention up your spine to the area a couple of inches below your belly button. Feel the warmth of that area and focus on it. Imagine a bright orange light spinning in that area. Sit with that for a few moments. Now guide your attention further up to a couple of inches above your belly button. Focus on that area and try to imagine a spinning yellow light above your belly button. Relax and sit with that feeling for a moment. Now bring your attention further up to the center of your chest where your heart is. Picture a circling bright green light and sit with that feeling for a moment. Connect with this area of your body and breathe deeply and calmly. I won't go through all the chakras because Khalsa does a much better job than I can do. But again, if you're interested in finding out more about this type of meditation, I recommend you get the audiobook version of the book. So after he describes the chakras, he talks about the fact that chakras can be either overactive or underactive, and he believes that this is connected to stress hormones. For example, when your first chakra is balanced, you may feel a sense of accomplishment. You may also feel peace when you think about things related to your safety, such as shelter, freedom from fears, and sufficient funds. When your first chakra is overactive, you might feel anxiety or jitteriness. This may trigger fear related to the need to survive, or your basic bodily needs are not getting met. So an overactive root chakra will make you feel like you're in survival mode, even if there is no real threat. If your survival needs have been taken care of, and it has been said of you that your head is in the clouds, you may have an underactive chakra, which may be fine, provided you don't need to act to meet your food or shelter or safety needs. So you get the picture. He goes on to talk about how you can balance your first or root chakra. The author feels that it's important to take care of your survival needs or your lower chakras before balancing the higher chakras. In other words, you take care of your survival needs first, and then you balance the higher chakras. You can balance this root chakra by focusing on your spirituality. You can do this by meditating or praying, or acts of kindness and compassion. Now, if you find yourself disconnected to your material existence, your first chakra might need to be revved up or exercised. You can do this by reconnecting to the earth and by being out in nature. Perhaps something like gardening, swimming, taking a walk in the woods, or sitting by the ocean. Something that energizes the root chakra. You get the picture, I'm sure. This is more of a healing philosophy rather than a religion, and it originates in India. That may not come as a surprise to you, given that part of the meditation involves chanting. The book goes on to describe the second chakra, which is associated with creativity. He then goes on and explains all of the 7 chakras. In the last hour of the book, there are 4 meditations. The first meditation is for healing mind, body, spirit. It's basically for connecting how you're feeling to your physical body. The second meditation involves the vibrations. He talks about an L form of meditation where he repeats sa, ta, na, ma. If you repeat that out loud and feel your tongue, you may notice that your tongue moves differently than it would with another word, such as word. This second meditation includes the touching of fingers and thumb. I'm sure you've seen that in a Buddhist meditation. The third meditation is your deep breathing and stretch exercises. In this, for the author, takes about 8 minutes. The fourth meditation is the palms up, index finger touching the thumb meditation, with more breath exercises. So you can see what's going on. There's physical, there's meditation, and there's chanting, which involves the vibration with the tongue. Now, this type of meditation that the author describes here may be a little further out from mainstream because of the inclusion of the chanting, so a lot of people might just dismiss it because of that. But I did try listening to the audio tape while I was lying in bed with the lights out before sleeping, and I found it to be very relaxing. I'm not sure how much of this may be the placebo effect, but I did feel relaxed in the morning. Now, I'm not going to give up my transcendental meditation, but I'm glad I tried it. And I guess what I'm saying here is that if you have any relaxation technique that works for you, and you're not quite sure why it works, why fight it? So if any of you out there are interested in a meditation technique that has more of an Indian flair, I would recommend at least listening to this audiobook, and perhaps trying it for a week. The author lets us know in the beginning that he was practicing TM, or Transcendental Meditation, and yoga before he decided that this technique changed his life and this is the one that he would stay with. And perhaps that's the best lesson that he has to teach us. When it feels like this is what you need, then you're right. It is. That's all I have for you today. Be well and stay tuned next week for another episode of Healing Outside the Box.